Hello Saberform YouTube, this is BladeCrossEXE again, and I'm starting a new project. This is my Ultrasaber Dominix V2 RGB. I got it as a prize a while back when I bought my Dark Catalyst. They were having a free RGB giveaway, and I'm going to customize this bad boy and turn it into a Z Saber from the Megaman X series. For those of you who played the game, you know that that is Zero's signature weapon. And I decided to go with RGB Saber and this particular one because it's shaped pretty much the exact same way. It's just a very straight, tubular style hilt with creases in it, you know, the grip points. And I decided to go with the RGB one for the different colors because Zero Saber changes in between games, and based on the box art and most of the concept art you see, his saber is actually blue. Light blue to be more specific. In almost every single game though, it's green. And of course, depending on which weapon he equips, it can change orange, or it can be purple, it can be all kinds of different colors. So that's why I went with this. But yeah, so this is a little video that's going to take you through the different steps we did to turn this Ultrasabers Dominix V2 into a Z Saber. Okay, starting work on my Z Saber here. Like I said, this is the Ultrasabers Dominix V2. And if you see on the picture of the Z Saber, it has a very wide emitter and a kind of cap-like pommel. So I'm going to be using PVC parts for this. And you see that it's got a little red triangle on the end. This is a little ruby crystal thing I got off Etsy. The crystal pommel, or the end piece of the pommel, isn't exactly crystalline like this, but I thought it was pretty nice for effect. So the plan is to take this end cap, punch a hole in it, and of course, you know, scrape off the lettering, and slip it over the emitter of the saber so that it protrudes out the top. Attach the crystal to this piece of pipe, and it will sit in like this. And of course, I'm going to have it attached to the real pommel of the saber so I can unscrew it to change the batteries, because, you know, it runs on AAA's and it doesn't have a recharge port. Alright, I've got the emitter cap installed. I'm not actually attaching it directly to the saber from the inside because I still need to be able to get to the retention screws. Don't you see those? Hang on, let me turn the light on. Light the camera. There we go. Yeah, there they are, the retention screws in there. So the plan is to drill a hole, or drill two holes in the PVC pipe right here, and make sure it sits flush before I can permanently attach it, and have two very long retention screws coming out the side so I can still attach and detach the blade. Alright, I've attached the pommel piece to the Z Saber, and this has been about a week. It's been sitting here. I attached it to the Dominix's pommel using some Kneaded-Tight green stuff epoxy putty. It's stuck in there. I'm not sure if it's quite perfectly centered, but as you can see, it screws in, screws out pretty well. And I just did a test tug on that, and that is not going anywhere. I'm still not sure if I'm going to use it all the time while dueling, just because of the jewel I'm going to put on it later. But as far as the PVC part of the pommel goes, that is secure. That is not moving an inch. Alright, so let's see where it goes from here. Alright, we got the body of the Dominix here. It's already been taped up, and we're about to start painting this bad boy gold. Alright, we got the first coat applied. This is Rust-Oleum Bright Coat Metallic Finish in this very nice gold color. It's very close to the Z Saber, I'd say. Of course, I taped up the buttons. I put a blade plug inside, and I actually put tape on the inside of the retention screw holes, and covered the battery pack as well, because you don't want any of the electronics to get paint on them. Building the emitter cap for the Z Saber right now. If you look at the concept art, you'll see it's got little studs around the emitter. And for this, I'm using some carriage bolts. They're Hillman Group 1/4 inch by 1 inch. And these are really cheap. These are literally like 25 cents a piece at Lowe's. At least that's where I got mine from. So I'm putting 8 of those around the emitter. I know they're a little bit uneven, but this is a first attempt, and we'll see how this turns out once it's finished. Alright, and here's what the emitter cap looks like before the finished product. This is just after the first coat of paint. We're going to go back and give it another 2 or 3 coats. And you can see the bolts are not pushed down all the way because the bottoms of the screws are brushing up against the emitter of the saber, so we're going to have to cut those down with a hacksaw. And then we're going to permanently bond it to the saber and then paint it. This is a bit of a broken blade to basically seal up the emitter hole so no paint will get in there while we're spraying it. Alright, this is the emitter cap on the painted hilt. Of course, I'm going to go back and repaint it again. I got the studs in there after sawing them off. You can see I patched it up with Neatitite green stuff epoxy putty, and those are the holes for the retention screw on the saber itself. I'm actually about to permanently bond the emitter cap to the saber. Then I'm going to apply a couple more final coats of paint, and then we'll see how it turns out. Yes, I know the studs on the top are uneven and out of order. Or not really out of order, but off-center. But this is a first attempt. I'm probably going to go back and redo this a little later, but I'm under a time limit right now because I need this for a convention next week. So we're just going to see how it goes from here. This is the completed Z Saber version 1 hilt. The LEDs still work just fine. I'm actually about to put the blade in this thing and see how the colors show up. I need to put the guarded button cover back on there. I still have it, it just came off. Yeah, we got a little bit too wild while we were dealing with this thing before I decided to mod it. That gold has a very nice finish to it. Once again, that's a Rust-Oleum brand. It takes like 3 to 5 hours to dry before it's touchable. But if you let it sit overnight, then it becomes very nice, very sturdy, and that gives it a beautiful, beautiful look to it. I'm most likely going to redo the pommel because I actually found something better after I had started this. But like I said, this is a version 1. I will most likely be making another version or 2 sometime in the future. Now let me grab my blade real quick. Alright, here we are, completed Z Saber version 1. And I am actually pretty decently proud for the job I did with the materials I had and the time restraints I'm under. As I said, I'm going to a convention next week. It is, it's Comic-Con Season 8, I think. 7 or 8, 2016, whichever season that is. And I'm actually going as Megaman X. See, we're actually still building the armor right now. And in at least 2 different games, we know that X gets a hold of the Z Saber. So I figured, why not incorporate my Ultrasaber to my new cosplay? And the Z Saber is the closest thing I could find. And like I said, light blue for the box art and green for the actual gameplay. And of course, depending on which upgrades you get and which game you're playing, it can change colors to all kinds of different things. So, thank you for watching, and, you know, check out my other videos. And this has been BladeCrossEXE with Flashing Blade... I screwed up the ending. This has been BladeCrossEXE with Flashing Blade Productions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.